The air was still, heavy with the scent of damp earth and blooming jasmine. A lone, crooked moon hung in the sky, casting a pale, ghostly light over the small village. All was quiet, save for the rhythmic chirping of crickets. In the center of the village, under the ancient banyan tree, a group of children huddled together. Their eyes, wide with a mix of fear and excitement, were fixed on one man, Majid Chacha. "Come on, Grandpa," a young boy named Farooq urged, his voice barely a whisper. "Tell us a story. A truly scary one. The kind you told my father when he was a boy." Majid Chacha's face, weathered by a lifetime under the sun, creased into a gentle smile. But his eyes, deep and old, held a sadness the children didn't understand. "Ah, the old stories," he said, his voice a low rumble. He looked out at the dark, silent fields and a shiver ran through him, a memory stirring deep in his bones. "All right," he sighed, the smile fading. "But this is a true story. A memory from a time when I was known as the best fisherman in this village." He leaned in, and the children leaned with him, their faces illuminated by the eerie moonlight. He began to speak, and the world outside the circle seemed to fade away. "I was young, and my nets were always full. I knew every stream, every river, every pond. But there was one pond that everyone avoided. The glassy pond at the edge of the woods. It was still and dark, the water so clear it looked like a mirror. People said it was cursed, but I laughed at their fears. One night, a feeling came over me, a feeling that a great, magnificent catch was waiting for me there. The night I went, the moon was full, just like tonight, and its light made the pond shimmer like a sheet of polished silver. The air was heavy and still, the kind of stillness that feels unnatural, like the world is holding its breath. The only sound was the gentle lapping of the water against my small wooden boat. I felt a thrill, the lure of the catch stronger than any superstition. I took my best net and cast it far out into the center of the pond. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the silence was shattered. The water around my net began to churn violently, not with the frantic splashing of a fish, but with a furious, unnatural energy. It was as if something massive and enraged was twisting and thrashing just below the surface. A foul, fishy stench, like rotting scales and stagnant water, filled the air, so strong it made my eyes water. My heart hammered against my ribs, and I knew, with a certainty that froze the blood in my veins, that this was not a fish. A shadowy figure, slick and dark, began to rise from the murky depths. It wasn't the ghost of a man. It was a thing of the water itself. Its skin was slick and covered in scales that glinted in the moonlight. Its eyes, 2 points of glowing, malevolent light, were fixed on my net. Its mouth was a gaping maw, a black hole filled with needle-like teeth, a mouth that only craved one thing: raw fish. I watched, paralyzed with a terror that I had never known. The creature, the Mecho Bhoot, as I would later learn to call it, glided silently toward my net. With impossible speed, it snatched the fish right from the meshed ropes. It wasn't just taking them, it was hunting them, savoring their panic, its movements too quick for my eyes to follow. The unnerving sound of it feasting, a soft, wet tearing, made a cold sweat break out on my brow. It was a predator in its own domain, and I knew, with a primal terror that clawed at my throat, that I was trespassing. Its gaze, cold and full of a deep-seated hatred for those who dare to take its prey, met mine. It wasn't hungry for my soul, it just wanted me to know my place. I wasn't just a fisherman anymore. I was an intruder. I don't know how I did it. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. But somehow, I managed to cut the rope to the net, and with a desperate, frantic shove, I pushed my boat away from the bank and rowed with all my might. I didn't look back, but I could feel its cold gaze on my back. A weight that promised it had not forgotten. The silent, relentless malice of that spirit followed me all the way home. Majid Chacha's voice trailed off. He looked at the children with a somber expression, and the final word hung in the air, a whisper on the still night. The silence that followed was heavy and absolute, a thick blanket that smothered the chirping crickets and the rustling leaves. The children didn't stir. The full moon, which had once felt friendly, now seemed like a cold, watching eye. They could no longer hear the gentle lapping of water, but they felt a chill in the air, a stillness that had a new, terrifying meaning. They understood. The glassy pond wasn't just at the edge of the woods. The silence of that pond had followed Grandpa home, and now, it was here with them, under the banyan tree.